So all three boxes, if they're going to remain in contact, they must have the same acceleration. We combined all three boxes and pretended they were one box for a moment. And that's how we figured out the acceleration was going to be 2 meters per second squared. Okay. So you have 9 kilograms of total stuff. You put an 18 Newton force on it. The acceleration is going to be 2 meters per second squared. So you get 2 meters per second squared of acceleration for that 4 kilogram. That needs an 8 Newton FU. You've got 2 meters per second squared acceleration for the 3 kilogram. That needs a 6 Newton FU. And then now you got this 2 kilogram deal here. And for it to have an acceleration of 2 meters per second squared requires a 4 Newton FU. So I'm looking for you to work with your buddies there on the whiteboard, have a think about what does the free body diagram look like. And then I got a little pair deck action somewhere. See if I can find it.
What's that one?
Pair deck. Open projector. Hide that. I don't want that. That's not what we're doing. Oops.
Are we making multiple? When could be, are you making them for each one? Yeah. So it's like, so didn't we say that they're like 70 Newtons pushing back on this one? So
Yeah, there we go. All right, so there's our joint code wreckage.
Spanish is going to kill me slowly.
And then in the pair deck, I'm looking for your free body diagram for the 2 kilogram. Do we need the whole thing?
Let's just do.
Yeah.
So is it 70 grams? It's not 70 Newtons pushing back at the 2 kilogram.
So, hey, I'm going to do part of the 2 kilogram one and you do part of it, okay? I'll do this part. You got 20 Newtons, FG, 2, comma, Earth. You got 20 Newtons, F smoosh push, 2, comma, what are we calling it? Floor. You sassing me, Peaches? Where do you work? I'm going to come to your work and throw sass at you. Golf course, beverage cart, something like that. Okay, so in the pair deck, I'm looking for any other forces that belong on this 2 kilogram. Might be 1, might be 2, might be 3. What are the other forces that go on the 2 kilogram? How am I already out of coffee? It's not going to go well.
I drank 3 cups. My heart's beating so fast.
I wish it worked that way. How much coffee? Not enough.
Hey, Mr. Wright, do we take in?
Every day we will talk about how much coffee I drink. Are you picking up on the repetitive patterns? Yeah.
So there's like that.
Have you? That's why I thought you were a senior. Movie Groundhog Day. Have you watched that yet? Do you know that movie?
Oh my God, maybe.
It's an older movie. It's an 80s Bill Murray movie. And it's like Groundhog's Day, and he gets trapped in some kind of like existential loop where he's just reliving the same day over and over again. It's really kind of my life. Like I teach this lesson 4 times a year, every year for 20 years.
4 times a year?
Yeah, 3 AP and 1 regular. Yeah, dude.
I knew it wasn't.
That's why I drink so much coffee.
Groundhog Day.
Wait, what?
I'm doing this differently now than I did it 5 years ago, but kind of, some FU, some ma.
Call them FUs back then.
No, I called him something different. I tried to use all the fancy terms. I thought that mattered. Everybody knew the fancy terms, but they didn't know what they actually meant. you guys hopefully kind of know what they mean, but don't know what the fancy terms are. So
Yeah, I have no idea what
yeah,
Where,
but you're gonna figure out something here in a moment, and it's pretty cool. I'm just waiting for it.
where's everything? Are we still in unit?
Are you in the class notebook?
Yeah.
Yes. I'm on a page called 3 Boxes Problem in the Unit 5 UBFPM.
Okay, so now it is tough.
You can't
The
get.
last thing is for sheet one, the last.
You do perfect stuff.
I will next year. Story of your life.
So that's dumb.
But I can't decide which one.
I think so.
Yeah, the person doing it. You can just write about it.
So you have, yeah. Let me try refreshing. Thanks for the heads up. That's a lot of notebooks. I don't think it did anything, but I tried. It did? Usually when I do things, it doesn't do anything. I'm not used to being effective. How many times do you think I've told that coolest teacher in the school joke?
Many times.
Lots of times. It's not funny anymore, but I still tell it. Whoa, okay, somebody needs help. We'll find out in a second. Rachel, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm doing great.
Okay.
I think it looks pretty good.
It's okay to not be okay.
Okay, but like for using Playback, I think it turned out pretty great.
I disagree.
I think you should put it on the board just to show everybody.
No, it just requires me to have to do an extra step to show stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, I can just do that. I just had to email your close personal friend Amber Austin. There's a crisis at the Willow Wind Book Fair, but they're going to sort it out. So it's good. All right, so again, I tried to be a hero and help you out. I drew 2 of the arrows. I really only need you to worry about the ones in the side-to-side direction. It looks like most friends have 2 arrows in the side-to-side direction. We can't really see what they're saying each one is from this far out. That's what I really need you to think about, okay? Try to apply all the understandings that we've talked about in the last few days as far as how the direction of the acceleration and the direction of the FU compare. Right at the end of the period yesterday, we arrived at the understanding. We had like 3 different values we were trying to say this forward arrow was. 2, 8, or 14. We got rid of 8 because that would just balance this arrow. We got rid of 2 because why? This was 2.
The force would go up.
The FU would be that way, but we need the acceleration to be that way. So try to apply that same understanding here. This 2 kilogram is accelerating the same direction as the other arrows. It's not going to have the same amount of FU, but it should have some agreement in the direction of it.
This.
Just this.
Just this.
Dear diary.
Yeah.
So the thing that I need you to kind of be thinking about in your diagram is the feeler dealer, because I think you already know the amount of one of these forces, although it's not necessarily looking like that. And there should maybe potentially be kind of a aha understanding that happens here for you. Like, oh, that's why that's that way. I'm looking for one of those to pop off for you here. What? Maddie, there's a text tool. You don't have to draw with. You don't have to like write with your. Okay. Otherwise, you're going to get the Andrew Yu Award for being impossible to read. That a kid.
No, I have to.
Why do you keep Morse coding like?
Oh, I'm Morse coding myself.
Yeah.
It's not me whispering myself in Spanish.
That's all right. I don't mind the Spanish muttering. It's the tap, 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 tap. SOS. Graham's in crisis.
I have a
All right.
Is that new quote right there?
Which one?
Should we start off?
Oh, I moved it. I moved it back up front because I think it's important.
Yeah.
We have a quiz this Friday?
Yeah.
Look at that quote.
It's true though.
We just had a test. Tuesday.
Have you ever heard of the? Are you in psych? No. Have you ever heard of the Dunning-Kruger effect?
Oh my god.
Like when you don't know much about something, like you're a novice, you're just first learning about it, you think like you understand a lot more about it than you actually do. And then like the more you learn, the less you feel like you learn. And then you kind of come out of that curve later on. But
They did a grammar test with people.
Where's the
Show
code?
that effect.
Start off.
did they?
And they were like, how do you think you did? And all the people that did really bad, they were like, oh, I feel so good about it. And all the people that did really good for it.
That was that pre-test that we did at the beginning of the year. I can't remember if I made you guys like write down your predictions, but most people like over predict their score by a factor of 2 or 3. Like people think they got like a.
I think I got like a 0 on that.
Okay, so you're a rare exception because you did better than 0. Not a lot.
I think that I got like 3 right. I think I got
Yeah, I think I guessed like I was getting like a 16.
Yeah.
I got
Yeah,
an 8.
Grim guessed it. He got like
A
a.
16 or something. I got like an 8 or 9.
Did I show you?
No, but
Oh,
I
okay.
did. Yeah, you did show it.
So he did
No,
I?
you didn't.
I don't think I did.
You didn't show
So
it.
you,
No, but you said
think
no
you
one
said
got
you
higher.
thought you got a
You
16, but
said-
you think you got an
Yeah,
8.
you said no one got higher than like a 10 or something.
Did I tell you that?
Grim
Okay.
thought he only got like 4 wrong.
I got yeah, 'cause
Right, because a lot of the like the wrong answers make sense based on like novice interpretations of physics.
At the end of the year, we should get those back.
We will, yeah,
We
sooner than
retake
that, something like it, yeah. But you'll be better.
You'll get 2 points on it.
I hope so. Last year, not so much. So I don't know. Last year kind of broke my will, but we'll see. So many people that didn't really improve. All right. So sorry, sidetracked. Screencasting. Here are some of the various answers. Okay. So here's one. 18 to the left. Not sure about what goes to the right. No feeler dealer or anything yet. 4 to the right, box comma person. 8 to the left, that the 2 feels from the 3. Would that give us a 4 Newton FU? 8 and 4. Yeah, it would. Okay. 18 to the right, that would be 2 feels it from person. 14 to the left, 2 feels it from 3. Would that give us a 4 Newton FU? That would. That would give us a 4 Newton FU. Okay, I think, okay. Those are the only 3 I have in there right now. So 18 question mark. What would the question mark have to be to get a 4 Newton FU? Either 14 or 22 would have to be that 4 there. We got to get an FU of 4. So I need you to be thinking about it with your neighbors. Do I have any other information that tells me about the values of these forces? I think you do. I think, okay, Castor points out there's a person pushing on it, and I think we know a little bit about that person pushing on it, okay? And then kind of get after it, think about feeler dealers, see where you land here. But this is like one of the most important pieces of mental work that you're going to do this unit is making sense of this right now, because it should make sense. There's a sensible answer to this, but I need you to get a little skin in the game here, okay? So stop drawing your pumpkin and start drawing your free body diagrams. Yep, that shade's directed at you. What is that? That looks like a jack-o'-lantern. It's not always about you, Rachel. Jeez.
Mr. Hardy, you know what?
What? This answer. Okay. And could you do me a favor too and talk to your neighbors a little bit? You're making me sad in my heart.
Mr. Hardy.
Other than Tomas, make him sit off by himself and not talk. You're
Mr.
gonna talk about Joey Brown.
Mr. Hardy.
I didn't know it was Joey Brown.
So, you know that the person is working on the
He was being last year home.
How do you know if
get that
I think
way?
they actually have students like taking stuff? So you know how to do
Por ejemplo, Estados Unidos tiene arquitectura que tiene su propia historia, igual que están los estilos de ambos países reflejan
This one
la historia
worked that
y
way.
la misma. We lose, so we get it present today or tomorrow, but we don't know. They practice AP tests. You get like one or two on this practice.
You get a what?
One or two on this practice one.
I think I did that.
You know, ambos países. Mezcla de culturas, definitely. Mezcla.
Graham, can you not deal with it today?
No,
Me neither, bro.
like so. Just want this week to be over.
Me too, actually. I'm extremely grumpy.
Yeah, because we're spoiled with so many snow days. We hate being in school.
Yeah.
Because
Listen, I'm
Mark
thinking
Steve,
I skipped Spanish until for instance.
you're gonna skip.
Oh, so I can't.
I only get unexcused absences and AFTs.
I was gonna call myself in smart pants.
They don't catch on to that.
What?
They don't catch on to that.
No, if you see our new reason, Kenzie gets caught on too.
What's your reason? I have no problem.
So this is
That's what Kenzie said. She got
What's your jerseys? You do. How much? That's so bad. That's why
Because they want
and you also don't people get so much money.
So this
Sometimes
Yeah, I think it might be a little bit. It would be better for
I was gonna say, if you buy them and then everyone like,
we'll get to keep them.
no, you'll get to keep them, and then what about the next team next year?
Yeah, we better wear the same one.
Por ejemplo, los Estados Unidos tiene arquitectura que tiene su propia. I'm so stressed out right now. I just need to focus.
so I think this is good now.
Tiene arquitectura que tiene igual que España. Los estilos de ambos países reflejan la historia y mezcla de culturas del país. I might just give up. I think I might quit school.
You buy what?
Quit school.
Okay.
Yeah. Alright, I'm gonna go. La arquitectura contribuye cultura y carácter a un país y a través de la religión, el estilo y la arquitectura puede unir y conectar los religiones, las razas y culturas distintas. La arquitectura es muy especial y única y cada país tiene su propio estilo. Por ejemplo, los Estados Unidos tiene su propia historia igual. Tiene arquitectura que tiene su propia historia igual que España. Y los estilos de ambos países reflejan la historia y mezcla de cultura del país. Del país.
So this FU
No, you have
is that way. Accelerating that way.
It's half. No, it's not half. But it is ridiculously strong.
Oh no, box is weird.
España se puede ver la influencia. But I can have some notes. I can have a note card up there or something.
When are we gonna see our
Why?
Good
I can't.
question. After
I'm gonna write some.
After so Monday.
hopefully. Fingers crossed. I got to work from like 2 until 9 on Sunday, so that's kind of prime grading time. You grade it for me? Might there be 2 objects interacting with each other? I think that's a fair assumption. Might there be some FUs?
Besides making an FBD, what are we supposed to do? Find FU?
Yeah. Okay.
Are we gonna thoroughly go through number 2?
Are we going to thoroughly go through number 2? The 2 kilogram box? Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah. Fine.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
I'm just gonna take.
All right. So let's kind of recap the free body diagrams to this point. This is number 4. The 40 up, 40 down were pretty straightforward. The 8 newtons to the right required a little bit of thought. The acceleration, we figured out earlier, had to be 2 meters per second squared. It's 4 kilograms. We've got to get an FU of 8. So why is this force 8? Why is there only one force? Because if you look in your system schema, the 4 is only having interactions with the Earth, the 4, and the 3 kilograms. If we know that these 2 balance, then it's up to this interaction to give enough unbalanced force to the 4 that it has an acceleration of 2. So that's how I knew this interaction had to be 8. And then we go to the 3 kilogram box. And now I know the 3 kilogram box has a 30 Newton interaction with the Earth and a 30 Newton interaction with the floor. Ooh, and I know it's got an 8 Newton interaction with the 4 kilogram. And we talked about this a little bit yesterday. Why did we know that 8 Newtons points this way? So a couple different ways that people got at it. One is to recognize this is smoosh poosh, and smoosh poosh points away from the dealer. If the 4 is dealing this force called 3,4, that 8 newtons points away from the 4 kilograms. Push it away. The other way of knowing it is force pairs. This is 8 newtons. It's called 4,3. So the force that's called 3,4 will point the opposite way. That is because forces come in pairs. Same size, different directions. That's what's going on there. That's a force pair. That's an interaction between those 2 objects. That that thought process is going to have to show up here as well. Because right here I see a force called 3,2. That means there's another force out there I should be aware of. That's the other half of this pair. What's it called?
2,3.
It's called 2,3. How big is it? It's 14 newtons. Okay. So do I put a 14 newtons forward or backwards on this thing? I need you to have that thought with your neighbor real quick.
Backwards.
Okay? Get into the pear deck and draw your arrow. And then somebody check on Kinsey and make sure she's okay. Have you ever uttered that? What is that from? That's brilliant. That would be like the best worst thing to say to your mom. It's not a phase. Oh, that's going to get said to me at some point. I just feel it. And they'll be like, I'm dad.
I'm dad, actually.
Are you a girl dad?
No.
Girl dad. What's a girl dad? A dad of girls?
Yeah. It's like the thing that's going around with Kobe.
What?
What?
I do have Twitter.
I'm so surprised you haven't seen it.
I don't know what girl dad is. Is it like one of those things that's trying to be woke, but it's not, or what? Like,
Someone like a good story on it or something.
okay. Girl dad.
It's like hardcore first girl stuff.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And then
Our
everybody's
Barstool's
like, my
killing
dad's
it
a
right
girl
now.
dad. I know.
Okay. Got it.
It's kinda funny.
The one with the timeouts.
I know like two of the people.
I can,
All of them are.
I can fishtail braid. Does that qualify me?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Should I do your hair?
They're all doing it. James.
It's confidential.
I can also lie about how good I am at doing hair. Really, I'm just hair pretties and then a little bit of a braid, and then I'm good. That's about it. Can't
You
really
don't have to do a
practice myself.
ponytail?
I don't mind if we get this team
Is that like a
money
job?
with living water.
Like just like a ponytail, like just like get everything nice and clean and get it in.
Wait, let me see this.
You get a good one, you get the little thing on top. I can do the two sides with the little mouse ears. That one's pretty cute. We're big fans of our puffy hair pretties right now. Oh my gosh, yet again, greatest class ever? I don't know.
Wait.
So I look in here at the different free body diagrams. Some people are expressing themselves, and that's good. So here we have 18 newtons forward, 14 newtons back. That 18 newtons is 2 comma person. The 14 newtons is 2 comma 3. 18 newtons forward, 14 newtons back. 18 newtons forward, 14 newtons back. Party, no feeler dealer though. That makes me sad in my heart. All right. 18 newtons forward, 14 newtons back. 18 back, question mark forward. 18 newtons forward, 14 newtons back. So I think the consensus that to the extent that there is one is that this forward force, if the pen worked, would be 18 newtons. This backward force should be 14 newtons. Let's play this game called Apply Some Scientific Reasoning.
I love that game.
What should make me feel good about ending up with an 18 Newton force forward on this? Okay, I've kind of like logic myself to a point where I feel like this forward force has to be a value of 18 newtons. What in the problem should make me feel good about putting an 18 Newton arrow forward on the 2 kilogram? That's my question to you.
What's the question?
We're starting right in a little donkey right there.
Dog of physics. I used to do backflips.
Oh, so the back.
They got mistreated.
Oh, it's white.
You have a notepad, Ryan? I get a piece of paper.
Okay? This is kind of what I'm fishing for here, okay? There's an 18 Newton arrow going that way in the picture, right, on the 2 kilogram blocks. Because it's the amount of force the person applying. Like it says in the problem, they're applying 18 newtons. We kind of logicked our way back to it, okay? Similar question. Why should I feel good about having this 14 Newton arrow pointing to the left on the 2 kilogram object? Why should that feel like a reason? What's my supporting evidence that this should be 14 newtons?
Because. correcting you though. I didn't know this. Yeah.
I'd love to.
And I'd really feel a lot better about stuff if I had more than half of you responding here. Okay, that's the idea. So I'm not calling for somebody to raise their hand. I don't want to just hear from one person.
Does my response make sense?
Does it? It's still populating. I'm looking for like 3 or 4 ways of this being 3 or 4 pieces of supporting evidence. I think that's one of them. Is it not?
Really?
Question.
I mean, thank you.
It makes more sense in my head, but I'm just not.
No, wait, no, I'm not sure I understand that.
That was my one.
Whoa. Where's the 6?
Here is
It's the
14 plus 6.
Are you talking about
8
adding the
plus 6.
FUs together?
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about it that way, but I think it kind of makes sense. No?
Where else would you get 14?
Yeah. 8 plus 6.
Because I got 18 forward and I got to have a 4 Newton FU.
Oh, no. You had the
You add the forces together.
Okay. Are you Minnesotan? Is that what that was there? Oh, you got to add those forces together. When I make a hot dish, I like to add the forces together. Let me go out in the boot, look at some loons. Boop. Boop. All right, I don't want to. Let's just look at what everybody says, okay? There's a variety of things being said here. Mom, I don't know why I'm not doing well in this class. Well, maybe you should participate in the damn pair deck. All right. Because 8 plus 6 equals 14, which is both the FUs from the other diagrams put together. It's kind of interesting. I hadn't thought about it that way. It works here. Okay. It's part of the force pair from the 3 kilogram. Okay. If you look at the free body diagram for the 3 kilogram, it's got a 14 Newton force forward on it from the 2. So the 2 should have a 14 Newton force backwards from the 3. Because there's 14 Newtons of mass in front of the 2 kilogram box. Is that true? Mass in front of it is 3 plus 4 is 7 kilograms of mass in front of it. Force pairs. Yep, there you go. 3 kilogram box and 2 kilogram box need to have a force pair, which is 14 newtons. That's true. The FU needs to be 4, and 14 plus 4 is 18. That's another way of getting at it. Smoosh push 3, 2 is also 14 newtons. Force pair. Got to get an FU of 4. Okay? So all these little different pieces of evidence have to lock together to make this all make sense. There's got to be a reasonable way of combining these forces to get to that result. All right. So then in the end, this is where you land. And as far as the force pairs go, let's see. How many tick marks do I have on that 14? I got 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. In this diagram, there are multiple force pairs. I do not trust yet that we apply that idea correctly all the time, okay? So what I'm going to want you to do, what I'm going to ask you to do right now, this is big brain stuff. What are the Newton values of all the force pairs? Clearly, everybody should put in 14 because we just talked about that. 14 to the right, 14 to the left. So I'd throw 14 in there. What are the other Newton values of the force pairs? Okay, I'm kind of trying to get you to really think crucially about what is a force pair and what is not a force pair. That's what this question is asking you. What is a force pair and what is not a force pair? So I really just need you to put in the Newton values. I don't need a lot of verbiage in addition to this. How many Newtons? So 14, okay, we talked about that one. What are the Newton values of other force pairs that appear in this diagram? Oh man, who's doing that?
Okay. You getting feeling?
Once in there's now.
Yeah, that's.
Jesus.
So what did you say?
She said that's not
She's not falling for the trap.
what I said.
Like 8 plus 6 is 14.
Why do they get to be in Florida?
Oh, maybe I got to take back that fist bump. I don't know what that was.
Yeah. What
What did you say?
8 plus 6 is 14.
No, it's the 14 and the 18.
No, it's the 8 and the 8 or the 14 and the 14. Like maybe I retract the 2.
Nobody's falling for my trap?
Like
What
4,
trap?
3, 3, 4, and 2, 3.
Teacher trap.
14 plus 8.
You lost me, I'm sorry.
No, you did lose me.
Like they
Like all
reverse
the
each
same.
other. The same that's not this. Yeah, is that what you're
All right. So maybe I got to get at this another way. Like a lot of people are identifying the 14 and the 8 as force pairs. Okay? I see that pretty much everywhere from the 7 people that are still paying attention. So thank you. So let's play the game this way. I got 30 newtons down. I got 30 newtons up. Those forces are the same size and they're pointing in different directions. That's a force pair. Come at me, bro. Okay? I'm going to claim 30 newtons up and 30 newtons down. Those arrows point different directions, right? Opposite directions, same size. Force pair, bro. Okay? Come at me, bro.
Can I disagree with that?
Yes, that's what pair deck is for.
Wait, so
I know that
Should you
they're
disagree
not,
with me? Why?
because they don't have like this like
Pair deck,
no,
bro.
but okay, sorry.
Bro. Had 0 times. Please don't make a flash on my face. Please do not flash on my face. Yeah, I should have that. More right
That was heavy. A little bit. Takes rain to stop. No, he used to coach here. Yeah, we used to first thing.
Oh, I got that.
You have 2 answers.
What dance did you watch?
Hall of Fame.
I'm doing the salsa and all the other
For what?
Spanish class.
Your guys' Spanish class seems fun.
Crap, that's really like, I'm taking still by life.
I don't know. It depends how I do the AP test. If I get like a 4 or 5, I won't take consumer. Well, then I just pass it. I don't really do it. I'm 5'2".
Finally reading, actually. Didn't get it today.
No, probably by next year. It's like we would practice grammar every next year. And I cannot. Well, I'll study it like when I get 3 months out or 2 months closer to that. I don't have that, but like I'm a little nervous to just practice it.
All right. So this is you doing well tomorrow. Hang loose. I don't do this often. One is Pepsi and one is Smoosh Pooch. Those are different interactions. That's not a force pair. No, because they're on the same free body diagram. That's another way to know that they're not a force pair. Okay?
Wish me luck.
Somebody agreed. They shouldn't have. Okay? One is 3 floor, one is 3 earth. They don't switch. These are all ways to know that you're not dealing with a force pair. Just because the forces are the same size in different directions does not make them a force pair. All right. Go back to the diagram. Got you. What? Later, Peaches.
Found it.
Would you? Oh, pound it. I said, found it.
How do you know if it's a force pair?
Oh, they're in the back. There you go. It's in the back.
Well, how am I supposed to know?
So how do you know?
Yeah.
So, and like this is not because one's gravity and one's smoosh poosh, but like if you look at the 14 and the 14, they're both smoosh poosh. Or this 8 and this 8, they're both smoosh poosh.
And they're going opposite
This
ways.
is called 4,3. This is called 3,4.
And they're going
That's
opposite
telling
ways.
you they're going opposite ways.
Okay, cool.
They're on different objects.
Oh.
They all relate to.
So they can't be on the same free body.
They cannot. And
Okay.
these two 8s relate to one line in the system schema. That's one interaction.
Okay.
Okay.
This that's right. That's fire.
Is it?
Yeah.
She left it.
Oh.
What's up? So I got something for you. What's up?
Is there?
Yes. Yeah. It'll be kind of dealing with this type of stuff. Simpler, but this kind of stuff. Hey, better? Good?
Yeah.
Good. Don't be afraid to say hey sometimes.
Okay.
Yep. Thanks. It's nice. Shows off the belts. All right. So if you want to whip out your Chromebook, I got to help you sign up for an appointment with Mr. Yoder.
All right.
Oops. Mr. Yoder. Yep. Let me get this shut off.